Starting the recording. And we are streaming. Marvelous. Today is a hair tied back kind of day. Hello. I'm Kelsey. I draw comics and stuff. Today, we're drawing comics and stuff. While my roommate chills in the back there. Say hello, roommate.
Hello.
Cool. Alrighty. Comics today we're going to draw are New Punk Signal and The Legend of Jamie Roberts. Today we're going to start with a suspected spam caller trying to call me. We're just going to say no to that. And then we're going to start inking New Punk Signal. Boop. Forgot to close out Discord. Got to do that real quick. There we are. Okay. Ooh. Drawing a cell phone, so we're going to use the continuous curve tool for the edges. Wait. We'll do a straight line for the edges and then the continuous curve for the corners. I like that plan. Let's do that plan. Don't you dare, Bree Bree. She's been scratching the corners. She knows I'm streaming live. Okay. So we got our phone edges. Set the continuous curve to the same brush size as the straight line we were just working with.
Bree? Bree Bree? Bree Bree? Don't you dare. I see you sitting over in the corner. Don't you snow blink at me. I know what you're plotting. Yes, you. Oh, don't you dare. So you raise your little paw.
We haven't even started inking properly and we're doing this.
Come here, you. It. Yes, you. Yep. Oh, now you don't want to play with Mousy? Well then. Madam! What do you want?
Retreat back into the cave.
Yeah, you get it. You get that, Mousy. Gotcha. I have successfully captured the baby.
You have.
Mm-hmm.
And her little chicken legs.
And her little chicken legs.
It's not torture if she's not running away.
Mwah. As long as you don't steal my seat. Mwah.
Run away back into the cave. Okay. Okay, I was about to say something and then Catus interrupt us. Oh, I don't like that. But thing I was going to mention was you may have noticed I did not do any live streams at all last week. That's because I was out of town multiple times, mostly visiting family, but yeah. And I'm not going to apologize for that, because this particular family member I had not seen in like 8 months, so it was good to see them again, and it was good to take some time to visit the farm and not think about work. Though I did drop off a painting for a show in Columbus that's happening this upcoming weekend. So that's exciting. And I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm actually going to copy paste what I just drew. Use the marquee tool to select that, and then we're going to scale this down. There we go, 95, and that'll do it. Merge the layers. Just realize that there's not really any implied depth, so I'm going to squish this phone outline down so I can add a line on the side here. Okay. I know, the thrilling adventures of drawing a smartphone. Oh, last weekend was also board game demo day, and I set up at my local gaming shop to showcase my stuff and also talk about my podcast a little bit, The Fourth Leg, giving new GMs a leg to stand on. And yes, I will be pitching that every time I bring it up. Shameless plugs. I feel like since we are so close to the character's hand, we'll just do little swirls for fingerprints. Because I think that's cute. Gonna try the no control Z challenge again. The no undo.
Oh, I just cracked every vertebrae.
Oh, jeez. I know. Earlier, like, last night, I was, like, laying on my back, and then I was like, it must be raining. Hold on. And then I snapped my wrist, and I was like, there we go.
To be old.
Oh, to be old. The older I get, the more I sympathize with Adam Sandler from Big Daddy, where he's like, you know, I used to be like you. I would eat anything. I wouldn't gain an ounce. Now I just look at a milkshake and my butt jiggles for a week. Excuse me if my shouting caused the audio to peak. Okay, just checking and making sure nothing weird was going on in the chat room, but we are okay. Oh, speaking of webcomics and things, I did a poll with my Tiny Dinos Discord server. Access to the Tiny Dinos Discord server is available for anybody who supports me on Ko-fi or Patreon, or both. I'm not going to stop you if you go with both. But people who support me on Ko-fi or Patreon get access to my Tiny Dinos Discord server. And I put up a poll recently. I put up a couple of different polls. I was thinking about the one for, like, the art club, but this one that I'm thinking of that I wanted to bring up was for which comic should I post on Webtoon first? because it's about time that I posted something on Webtoon. Especially since I have a Webtoon lanyard, and everybody who recognizes that it's Webtoon is like, oh, what comics do you read? And I want to be the person that's finally like, oh, I have a comic on Webtoon, by the way, you should check it out and read it. Haven't gotten to that point yet, so I put a poll for my patrons and my Ko-fi backers up on Discord and asked them, which comic of mine would you like to see on Webtoon first? And it was a pretty close poll, but the top vote went to a project called Tiny Unicorn, which is something that I make in conjunction with CB. She writes, I draw it. And I had to throw the question back at her because she's the writer on it. But also we had been talking about like different homes that we could put Tiny Unicorn on. And I was like, hey, is it cool if I post Tiny Unicorn up on Webtoon? And she was like, go for it. And I was like, cool, what would you like to be the first strip that goes up there? And she was like, oh, because we need to redo the beginning of the comic. Oh, I don't like that thumb. Okay, maybe I do like that thumb. I know what it is. It was the meat of the thumb was not where I wanted it to be. That was the problem. Did I get all the lines? I got all the lines. Nailed it. Nyla? Neela? Which one is it? Nyla? Neela? You are correct. It was Neela. Nailed it.
I just listened to those episodes a few days ago.
Nice. Oh, so you managed to muscle past the episode where Molly Mock... I know.
It's sad every time.
I know. Somebody made some like compilation videos on YouTube of like so and so once said, and it's just like out of context things that they've said in campaign. And somebody did one for Taliesin Jaffe once said, and they included the moment where Molly Mock spits in Lorenzo's face.
It's iconic.
It is iconic, but it's also like, why would you remind me of this man?
Because Molly is a queer icon.
He is. He is very much a queer icon. I was thinking about him when I was walking to the post office earlier, because I had taken the recycling out, and then I just drove up to the post office up by the library, and as I was walking, I just quoted to myself, "'Cause I'm weird." Because that. I loved him too. The moment where it's like, why are you with the circus? Because I'm weird.
I still like the fan theory that Kingsley eventually does remember being Molly, and he just keeps it from them as like a joke, because that's what Molly would do.
Molly would do that. He would like pretend to lose his memory and then proceed to not tell the Mighty Nine that he got his memory back.
Until it's comedic.
Until it's comedic. There was one fan theory that I saw that was like, oh, he remembered the whole time. He just pretended the whole time that he didn't remember anything and that he changed his name to Kingsley. It's like, I could see that being true for Molly too.
He would totally do that.
He totally would do that.
Somebody drew a comic about it where the traveler comes and's like, are you ever going to tell them? Yeah, eventually.
Eventually. Yes.
After he stole the boat from Ford.
Yep. I forgot he did that. I forgot that he stole the boat from Ford. I don't know why you're looking at me like I have my shit together. I really don't.
For real.
You know, the more that time passes, the more I appreciate Ford.
Yeah.
I know you don't like him.
It's not bad. I do like him as a character. I just wish things had been different.
I know. You were like a big Jester Caleb shipper. I don't know what the name of that ship
Widow
is.
Jest.
Widow Jest, that's it.
So good. I just feel like they had better chemistry. It's okay. I'm fine.
I'm sure on some level Danny Carr sympathizes.
Don't get me wrong. I do love Caleb and Essek also. But I just think that Jester and Caleb had the best chemistry.
There, I am pleased with how this thumb turned out.
But I'm on to the part where they are in Nicodranus and they are fighting Algor. Algar, but they keep calling him Algor.
Isn't that the guy that they chopped the hand off and they were like, you need to leave?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They actually, the one shot that they did, a familiar problem takes place right after that, but before they hijack the pirate ship.
Nice.
So it's like Sprinkle got knocked off of Jester's shoulder and he's like, oh, I'm free.
Oh, little Sprinkle, you're about to go through so much worse.
I know. I know. And, you know, perfect casting choice to have Travis be Sprinkle and Laura Bailey as Nugget. Because Laura Bailey just being like, you want to have some of this? Is just the cutest.
I do love it.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I love during that whole thing, Sam / not, I can't remember if it's in character or not. He's like,
Okay.
Your mom said that this guy was kind of bothering her. And we exploded him and cut off his hand. It's so good.
Or like... just the kind antagonism between Knot and Ford.
Oh, it's so good.
I love it. Just like the whole entire thing with Buttonbeard.
Yes. And if you make fun of my strength one more time, I'm gonna throw you off the boat.
You couldn't. Yeah. Someone find me an extinguisher because I am on fire.
For real though, Ford's strength is only one better than Caleb's. One. I think by the end of the campaign it's 2.
Oh wow.
But, yeah.
Oh wow.
He's only one stronger than Caleb.
Oh.
The wizard.
We warlock. Oh jeez.
And then there's just Yasha and Jester deadlifting all of them.
Yes. Yeah, I was honestly kind of surprised that Laura Bailey put as many points as she did in strength for Jester, because it's like, okay.
I like it though.
I like it too. I like buff Jester.
I do.
Yeah.
As do I.
Oh, speaking of buff lads, or buff folks, I'm drawing the himbos.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good.
I figured you would get a kick out of that.
I do.
I love that
I love himbos.
I love that in my circle of friends, New Punk Signal is just, oh, is that the comic with the himbos? Yes, it is the comic with the himbos. Eventually this will go up on Webtoon as well, but... Trying not to use Control Z. Just just gonna erase what I need to. Okay, earlier today I was thinking about the Hot Ones on YouTube. The episode with Tenacious D.
Yeah.
And the question was, what was the worst show that you ever did? And they were like, ooh, you want to talk about... And I don't remember what the name of the show was. But what happened was, I think it was iHeartRadio organized this, but there was like a radio station that organized a show as like a giveaway. And the way that they pitched it to listeners was... you can enter for a chance to listen to a really cool band perform. Did not specify who the band was. So, off to a great start with this giveaway already. So, yeah, they ran this thing. Lots of tickets given away. Everybody gets flown out to go check out this band. And everybody has the expectation that it's like, I don't know, Rihanna or like some big name. And then out comes fucking Tenacious D, and the entire audience was just like, boo!
Oh, no.
I know! These people have no culture.
I'd be happy.
I would be happy if I saw Tenacious D live. But no, the entire audience was like so disappointed that it wasn't like their fave or whatever. And like Jack Black was talking about how they had a buddy of theirs who, for a skit in the show, because they had done this particular show multiple times, they had a friend of theirs out in the wings in like a full Spider-Man costume, and he would usually like hop out in the middle of one of the songs and just start dancing. But at this particular performance, the Spidey guy just looked at them and was like,
"Aww,
bail." I know. And I'm like, well, boo on those people for booing you off the stage.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen that. That was a very fun episode of Hot Ones, by the way.
I do love that show.
Lizzo was probably my favorite one. Like, I did not know Lizzo is classically trained as a musician. Like, I had a hunch that she was because she plays flute.
Yes.
But, like, knowing that she knows, like, what... Oh, God, there was, like, a chord progression that was mentioned in her Hot Ones episode, and I do not remember what it's called, but, like, the name dropped, and I'm like, oh, that's something that you only know if you're, like, neck deep into music. It's like Phlegian or something like that. I don't remember. I've only heard it like once or twice whenever people talk about like chord progression breakdowns for like Sonic music.
Yeah.
Because like people do music breakdowns for like Legend of Zelda, Sonic the Hedgehog, and all that stuff. Yeah.
You listen to that one guy on YouTube sometimes.
There's a couple of guys I listen to on YouTube. Are we talking about Sideways, 8-Bit Music Theory, or...
I think that one, yes.
Oh, 8-Bit Theory?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have one of his videos just in a playlist, and every once in a while I'll just be like, I need to listen to him talk about the 2316 time signature for the Ganondorf theme. Because it absolutely boggles my mind that the frickin' Ganondorf boss level music from Ocarina of Time is in 2316 time, which is absolutely bonkers. I can't even replicate it. It is that complicated. It's like, dude, like, Kondo, what were you doing?
Making iconic music for an iconic series.
Apparently. Oh, thinking about music and stuff. I was thinking about starting up a podcast with my buddy Sean, because we've done podcasting stuff on occasion, but I don't know what I would want the podcast to be about. I was thinking music stuff because he and I both like punk music.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something I'm going to have to...
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Especially punk music of the modern day. Because there is punk music of the modern day. Oh god, that reminds me, I gotta look into what the heck is going on with Andy Warpigs. I'm concerned for Andy Warpigs. He's this indie punk musician based out of Phoenix. And he was posting pretty consistently online, and then he just dropped off. And I'm like, oh no. I know he had been having troubles with I know that he was like wanting to get into like rehab and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm scared. I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know though.
Hopefully.
I'm hoping it's just hey, he needed some time away from the internet to like recoup and rest and stuff. I'm hoping it's that. I don't know though. I haven't really looked too much into it because I'm a little afraid if it's the thing that I fear it is. So I don't want to think about that. I met him at Phoenix Comic Con back when it was called Phoenix Comic Con, and he was a really cool dude. He was walking up and down the aisles in Artist Alley just playing his guitar. It was great. He was walking with one of his like convention buddies who had this fucking parrot on their shoulder. It was great.
Nice.
Punks, man! Let's make the fingers a little bigger here. No, sir, I am merely a humble butler. What is it that you do? I buttle, sir. Which means what? Clue is one of the best underrated movies.
We need to watch that.
Yes, we need to watch that. We need to rewatch that.
I was just thinking about it the other day.
They reference it in All Work No Play when in the flame spinning episode where it's like flames on the sides of my face. Ah, yes. What are you afraid of? A fate worse than death? No, just death. Isn't that enough? Fun fact, the lady who played Miss Scarlet in that movie was not originally slated to play Miss Scarlet in that movie. They had cast a different actress at the time, but then that actress had to bail out of the project for whatever reason. I don't remember the reasoning exactly, but fun fact for you. I do like who they got. She was very good. You tell them it's not true. It's not true. Is that true? No, it's not true. Are you trying to make me look stupid in front of the other guests? You don't need any help from me, sir. Can you keep a secret? Yes, so can I.
That might be my favorite. I love that kind of stupid humor, though.
Me too. I love that kind of humor. Right up there with Mystery Science Theater 3000. We're downsizing, Steve.
Yes. We had to pause that.
We had to pause that for like 5 minutes so I could keep laughing. It was so good.
I just wasn't expecting it. It was so good.
Oh, Mike Nielsen was really good for the deadpan deliveries on lines. Although I was watching a Joel Hodgson episode, a Joel episode, and it was the human duplicators. And at one point, the main character in the movie is flipping through photographs in a binder. And Joel's like, this man is in love with this man, is in love with this man.
Good. Good shit.
It was very good. We need to get out of this cockeyed nightmare. Or a night-eyed cockmare. That one killed me for like 10 minutes when I first heard it.
Those are the best.
I love it so much. Oh, man.
Alright.
I know.
Unfortunately, have to go to work.
Oh, darn it. Well, at least we got some good laughs
We
in.
did. And it's a short day.
Hey, before you go, don't forget. Don't burn the derb.
Oh, I love Sam and Liam.
Me too. Remember the code word. M&M's. See ya. If you need more context for what don't burn the derb means, then you need to watch All Work No Play on Critical Role's channel, the episode about fire spinning. Oh, that one killed Alex for like 10 minutes. To be fair, I giggled really hard when I first saw it too. Ooh. Okay. OBS updated recently, and I ran the update before starting today's stream, and I can't help but notice that some things are a bit slow. Just very slow. Ugh, okay. Anyway, we'll see how much longer we stream now that there's not really any company to riff off of. This is why I like streaming with multiple people, like even if it's like people in chat or somebody in the same room as me. I like having the conversation being able to continue without my intervention. Because otherwise I'm just sitting here talking to myself. Because otherwise it's silence. I'm a little like Mrs. White from Clue when it comes to live streaming. I don't like silence. When Professor Plum was like, "Are you afraid of silence, Mrs. Peacock?" And she's like, "Yes, I mean, what? No, why?" Brilliant little bit of character acting there on her part. Like, honestly, if you have not seen the movie Clue, you need to see some of the best character actors ever put on film. Like, That is what that movie is really good for. I mean, obviously it's famous for its multiple endings, but honestly, it's some of the best character acting I've ever seen in a movie. I mean, Knives Out, pretty close. But, like, Clue is a straight up comedy. Like, yeah, there's murder, but it's a comedy. I was originally going to paint, excuse me, like traditional stuff in today's stream, and then I realized, oh, I don't really have a good setup for that, so we're just going to draw comics instead. Which is fine, because I need to catch up on comic stuff anyway. Though, I am wondering what the heck I'm going to do for Saturday's stream. Of course, I have to look at my agenda anyway. I gotta be out of town on Friday for a gallery show, because I have a piece in a gallery in Columbus, Ohio coming up. Opening reception is this Friday, September 9th. By the time this goes up on YouTube, it'll be past the date. But still, this Friday, September 9th, is the opening reception for Comics versus Art in Franklinton, which is a suburb of Columbus, Ohio, at Wild Goose Creative. Check it out. I will make a blog post about it eventually to like help signal boost it. As we get closer to the date. And yes, I do maintain a blog. It's a good way to, remind me to post to people that, hey, I got stuff coming up. Especially since I don't have a Facebook page. Thank goodness. Like, I was at the board game demo day this past weekend, and a couple of the guys who were also showcasing with me, they were like, are you on Facebook? And I said, not anymore. Left in 2017. And one of them was like, that was the smart decision. So, obviously I'm not missing anything. Oh god, what did I have Mike wearing? I had Mike wearing... Did I have him wearing jeans or shorts in the previous strip? I don't remember. Let me bring this up. Mike! Okay, he's wearing jeans. I'm gonna scoot that over. It's like in every strip they get progressively more thick. I just realized that as I'm drawing this, like, oh geez, okay. I gotta address this. This is a bad habit of mine. I really should draw character sheets for my characters in comics more. Because honestly, that's just good practice if you're going to be drawing comics, is draw character sheets for your characters like you would in animated production. That way you have a reference sheet that has the character looking forward, like the front view, the back view of a character, the profile view of a character, and a 3/4 view of the character. Like, it's just good form to have like a sheet that has all 4 of those basic poses and then some like facial expressions, or like common facial expressions that they would have. Like, it's just good practice to have that, and then I don't do that, even though I really should, especially considering I've got I was going to say so many comics, but like I do have like multiple comics like in production right now. They're just in various stages of completion. go, thin out his neck a little bit because it was a little too thick. Okay, we're gonna scoot. No, I said scoot, not top. There. Okay, back to this. Oh, his head's not big enough. Just realized that. Hold on. Also, in drawing this comic, I realized this is actually the same kitchen layout as I have in another comic script, which has the working title Vanita and the Demon King. Like, this is the same kitchen setup. Why is it the same kitchen setup? Because this is the kitchen setup that I have in the other room. I'm lazy. Okay, yeah, there. I enlarged his head. That's a little bit better. Oh, you know what? Let's go a little bit more. Yeah! Perfect! Okay. Okay, so here's the comic. The comic that I'm drawing right now. I'm drawing Steve and No Punk Signal. I don't know why I'm talking like this, but so we're just going to continue drawing like so. Excuse me. There. Sometimes it's just better to take an eraser to things rather than just doing Control Z. It's faster too. In a lot of instances. Yeah, cool. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that, like, everything was still hunky-dory. Sometimes you just gotta flip the canvas just to make sure that everything's working okay. For folks who are part of my Ko-fi club, first of all, thank you for continuing to support me on Ko-fi. Even though I had to shift things around a bit. I'll get to that in a sec. But, for those of you who support me on Ko-fi, you will have seen some of these pages of New Punk Signal, and you will know this is now getting to where the comic gets more real. Because we're going to be talking about COVID in this comic. It's going to be a backdrop. It's not going to be like the main focus. But I did want to incorporate the realities of the coronavirus into this comic because this comic is about independent creators and people who want to support independent creators and what happens when reality throws a wrench into things. Like, that's what I wanted this comic to be about. And honestly, coronavirus being what it is and what it continues to be is something that needs to be talked about, particularly for creators. And now I'm thinking about this is something that came up recently in a video essay. Well, it resurfaced in some video essays. The discussion of applicability versus allegory. And it's been talked about a couple of times in other video essays, but it resurfaced again in James Somerton's video about Attack on Titan. Yes, he went there. And talking about applicability versus allegory was like one of the final segments of that video essay. And there is a distinction. There's a distinction between applicability and allegory. Allegory, to put it very simply, allegory is when the author beats the reader over the head saying, this is what I intended, with the symbology in the story. That's allegory. Applicability plays it a little more fast and loose. We're gonna keep that angle there because I had to think about like what his hand would be doing in the microwave, and what his hand is doing in the microwave is dropping off a bag of popcorn. But just thinking about what the hand pose would be doing there, and it would be about that shape. But the reason applicability versus allegory came up in discussion, and why it needs to come up in discussions more often, is because there are entirely too many people who don't have enough media literacy, who look at properties in media and think that something is an allegory when it is in fact not an allegory, but it is an application of something. There is a difference between the two. Most obvious example, and this is something that is brought up a lot in the discussion of applicability versus allegory, Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings. And I'm not going to get too much into the weeds here, because if you want a breakdown of applicability versus allegory, Lindsay Ellis did a segment about this topic in her Bright video essay, and James Somerton talked about it in his Attack on Titan video essay. So I recommend that you check out both of those, because those go into more detail about it, and more like academic detail about it than what I do. But long story short, applicability is taking ideas and applying them to a fictional world. But it is not an allegory. An allegory is the author's vision being deliberately inserted into a story, with the author just looming overhead being like, this is what I intend for this meaning to be. If you want a practical example of this, let's take this old ism of the English teacher teaching you the curtains were blue. What does this mean? Applicability would look at the curtains were blue and say, the curtains were blue and the rest of the room was also blue, and blue means this. Allegory is, yes, the curtains were blue because blue symbolizes this thing in the context of this story. It's really easy to like go far and away with allegory. But allegory also pulls from real world examples and puts them into a fictional world. Like in Bright, orcs are an allegory for black people. It is very lazy. The discussion of applicability versus allegory came up a lot in the discussion of Attack on Titan symbolism, because there's a lot to unpack there. But James Somerton talks about it in his video essay, so just watch that instead. It's like an hour, but honestly, it's a good sit down to watch while you're having dinner, to be perfectly honest. a lot of how I catch up on video essays on YouTube is I'll make some dinner and then I'll sit down and eat that while watching some of these like videos. Okay, gotta draw the fridge. Oh, I gotta draw the counters first. Then I will draw the fridge. Oh. Nearly dropped the pen. That would have been awkward. I can redraw that. I really hope me and my buddies can meet up for D&D at some point, but it's not going to be for another few weeks. Unfortunately, the next couple of weekends are busy. Again, out of town this upcoming Friday, if the weather holds, to go to the gallery opening, but I also have a meeting with some folks regarding the fourth leg. That's all I can say about that. Saturday? I don't remember if I'm out of town on Saturday, and I have to double check that. If I am, I'll update the Twitch schedule, but I don't remember if I'm out of town this upcoming Saturday or not. The following weekend I will be. I will be out of town, because that's Small Press Expo weekend, and I will be at Small Press Expo this year. Very excited about that. Speaking of Small Press Expo, I'm going to talk about the Dragon Baby Keychain crowdfunder campaign that I've got going on right now. Yes, I have a crowdfunding campaign going on right now on Crowdfunder, not Kickstarter, Crowdfunder. Why Crowdfunder? Because they're sponsoring Small Press Expo this year. I also spoke with a representative from Crowdfunder, and we went over the features on the website, the things that made it stand out compared to other crowdfunding platforms. So things that would make it stand out against Ko-fi, Kickstarter, Patreon, Indiegogo, and a few other choice ones. But we went over the features. We talked about what Crowdfunder can do, which is a lot. Surprisingly, a lot. And I went, okay, I will try this out with a short campaign, just 3 days, to test out the features and see if I like it. And so I launched the Dragon Baby Keychain crowdfunder campaign, because I was like, hey, help me make these Dragon Baby keychains. I just need $100 to get like 50 of these printed in time for a Small Press Expo. Made the goal in the first 20 minutes, which is the fastest I have ever seen a crowdfunding campaign, regardless of platform, ever get funded that I've run. Holy banana pants. Wow. Y'all are bonkers. I love you, but y'all are bonkers. In the best way. In the best way. Funded within the first 20 minutes. And I was like, okay, sweet. So stretch goals. Because the original base goal for the Dragon Babies crowdfunder was to fund the Philadelphia Pride flag design being painted on a baby dragon and then have that be made into a keychain. Well, I have a lot of other Pride flag designs shaped like the baby dragons already, because I made them for sticker designs. But because I have so many, I was like, okay, well, we made the Philadelphia Pride design happen already. That's happening. Let's see if we can raise another 100 on top of what we've already raised. Because if we can do that, then I will print Transgender Pride Dragon Baby Keychains. We're about halfway to that goal already. Now, the original intent was to have this campaign wrap up at like the end of yesterday. But then I heard back from the representative whom I had been speaking with on Crowdfunder. So, but Crowdfunder is doing some behind the scenes stuff to help promote other people's crowdfunding campaigns on Crowdfunder during Small Press Expo weekend. And I opted in to get some promotional material printed. One of the stipulations was that I have a crowdfunding campaign happen at the same time that Small Press Expo is happening. And because of behind the scenes shenanigans, it's got to be the Dragon Baby Keychain campaign that I am running currently. So I had to extend the deadline because of some behind the scenes stuff. And I was like, okay, my original intent was to not have a deadline set on it. But then last night I thought about it and I went, it needs to end. It needs to have an end date because I don't want to run a campaign indefinitely. I have Ko-fi and Patreon for that. So the new end date for the Dragon Babies crowdfunder campaign, caught myself. The new deadline for the Dragon Baby Keychain crowdfunder campaign is September 18th. Now our goal is to raise as much as we can so that we can release more new designs as we go. If we can reach 200 raised on this crowdfunder, then we can make the transgender pride keychains happen. If we raise 300, we unlock, I think the next design is the lesbian flag. And if we raise 400, we unlock another flag. At 500, we unlock another flag. And so on. I want to see if we can get more keychains with more pride flag designs by September 18th and get the funding for all of those. The more money that's raised, the more variety of keychain designs we can get printed. That's the goal now. If you would like to make that happen, there is a link on the screen, on the top of the screen, crowdfunder.com/dragon-baby. That'll take you directly to the campaign page. One of the other nice things about the crowdfunder, you can mix and match your own reward packages. So, do you want 5 keychains? You can do that. Do you want 2 keychains and a painting? You can do that too. Do you want a keychain, a sketchbook page, and another sticker? You can do that too. Like, you can pick what rewards you want. Like, I have rewards a la carte available for you to pick from, which is wild. It's honestly one of my favorite features of Crowdfunder is the a la carte reward system that they have. It's really nice. It's a heck of a difference from Kickstarter, which is the platform that I've been using for years. I'm just going to use the rectangle tool to get some of the lines that I want. And the lasso tool to select the sections that I do not want. Simple. Cool. with forced perspective, sorry, my brain went back to Mystery Science Theater 3000 again. That particular line, with forced perspective, children, that is from an episode called Future War, which I have so many thoughts about Future War. And the first thought is, why is a movie about a time traveler, a nun, and dinosaurs, why is it not more entertaining? Because, like, with a pitch like that, it should be entertaining. And yet, a whole lot of it is just kind of boring. And an attempt at, like, theology discussions, but not very good theology discussions. And also, everyone wears plaid. There is so much plaid in that movie. There's a reason why one of the riffs is plaid. It's what's for dinner. Trying to get better at perspective. I will freely admit perspective is not one of my strong suits. Just realized that this is not right. Hold on. And here is where we need to make a new layer. Call it guides. And we need to draw some of the perpendicular lines that we have. I'm going to do this in blue. Honestly, blue is one of my more favorite colors to draw perspective lines with, because it's just so vibrant. Okay. That helps. That helps a lot. Cool. Because now I have a vanishing point. To be fair, this is also something that a lot of my comics buddies that I'm part of an anthology with, a lot of my comics buddies also struggle with perspective. I've had to give multiple pointers on perspective, and even I'm not that good at it. Mm-hmm. Okay. The entire reason I made the vanishing point, correct these lines up here. It's a bit better. Okay. It's probably going to be very sloppy. Angles are tricky. Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. My comics buddy Angela Boyle actually brought up a series of tutorials by, God, I do not remember their names, but there's a couple of like brothers who are illustrators who did a series of like tutorials, and that included some perspective tutorials, and I really like their pointers, including the idea of thinking of like layers of discs, because that'll give you an idea of how objects will fit within a not perpendicular, but like how objects will fit inside of a space in perspective. If I remember the name of this guy or these dudes, I will post about it, but the name eludes me right now. Oh, oh, I'm sorry. That's the first. Yes? What? Oh my gosh, hold on. This is the first time this has ever happened. Boo Boo just came out from the back room carrying a little mouse. And now, yes, I'm right here. Yes, honey, I will play with you. Oh my gosh. No. That was so cute. You just came out here with your little dingleball mouse and just pulled it out here and started howling. Oh goodness. I need to let your mama know that you did that because it's just so cute. For the record, this is what Boo Boo just brought in. And she was howling while carrying this in. It's this cat.
Maybe you want to play with butterfly? Yeah, you like butterfly, huh? Are you gonna get it? No? Okay.
She has a butterfly toy that she'll chase after, but she doesn't want to chase after it. Maybe she wants to join in on this conversation too. Maybe that's why she's howling. Mm-hmm. Oh, she saw the birds. She started making a new chittering noise, and I'm like, what now? I will address this corner in a minute. Eventually I will get a setup that will have multiple camera angles so that you can see when the kitties are being silly. Trying to map in my head how to address this. I could go the lazy route and not do perspective over here and just do what I did over here, which I might do. Just gonna cut paste P3 counter 1. we're gonna call that layer that. And turn that off. And then we're gonna merge the other lines that we just did. Not the guides, but the black lines that we just drew. We'll merge those. And I'm gonna turn the guide layer off. And then I'm gonna judge. Ascertaining what to do next. And I'm gonna save. And I think I'm gonna move to The Legend of Jamie Roberts, and we'll revisit that later. Start inking this in. Sometimes you just gotta set a project aside and focus on something else. Nope. Flip the canvas. There. Sometimes all you gotta do is use the eraser tool and not use Control Z, or as the British people would say, Control Z. I think Canadians say that too, now that I think about it. Yes, to answer the question, New Punk Signal and The Legend of Jamie Roberts, two separate genres. They are both comics, but The Legend of Jamie Roberts is fantasy, because there are dragons involved. New Punk Signal is slice of life. It's modern. In case you were wondering. Excuse me. Fantasy is my preferred genre, but I've made enough modern comics, like comics set in our modern age, that I am comfortable making stories in that setup. Oh, come to think of it. Sorry, I just had an epiphany with, there's a comic I've had sitting on the shelf for a little while. Still in script stage. Like, no final art's been made of this yet. But I started scripting a comic project called Snapshot, and then I had to shelve the project because there was other stuff happening at the time. But I'm thinking about revisiting it to finish up the script, because it's going to be short. It's like a graphic novella, as a friend of mine put it. And I say graphic novella because it's not the length of a graphic novel, but it is longer than a floppy, like a single issue floppy. So graphic novella. That's what Snapshot was going to be. And I just had the epiphany of setting the story of this in 2009, 2010, which is actually around the time frame that I went to college. So it would be pulling on a lot of my own memories of being in college. But I'm thinking about doing that because there should be more stories set in that time period. now that that period has gone. Like, it's in the past now. I'm thinking about updating the time frame, or like changing the time frame to that particular decade. Not just because it's what I'm familiar with, but thinking about the college experience, because Snapshot is about college. It's about two college students, one who's on a scholarship but doesn't know what he wants to do, and the other one knowing what she wants to do but cannot afford to keep going. And the comic is about these two and them navigating the difficulties of these scenarios. I also wanted an excuse to draw and write about hockey. Not just because of getting absorbed into Check Please. For a little while, I was also mildly obsessed with hockey. Like, I would go to local games in Wheeling, West Virginia and everything. Like, because Wheeling, West Virginia has a hockey team, the Wheeling Nailers. And now I know Toledo has a hockey team. And I want to see some Toledo hockey games when the season starts. So it's on my mind, is all I'm saying. At least the story of Snapshot is on my mind, and I do want to revisit it. I've been wanting to revisit a lot of comic scripts that I've had to shelve over the last year. 2021 was rough for me. So I'm looking forward to revisiting these comic scripts in the coming months. I'm only visiting one comic script this month of September because September is proving to be surprisingly busy. In fact, I'm not sure how many days this month I will be able to stream on Twitch because of all the stuff that I've got going on offline. I mean, it's a good problem to have, though. It's a good problem to say, hey, I'm going to be super busy with gallery stuff, going to Small Press Expo, making new pieces for a new art show coming up in a month and a half, if not shorter. Like, these are all good problems to have, and I'm very grateful that these opportunities are here. It also means I probably won't be streaming a whole bunch after today. Sorry. You might be wondering, why don't you just stream some video games? Well, first of all, I don't play that many video games. Second of all, I don't have the setup to stream video games. So, sorry. Until I figure out a setup, and until I feel like I want to stream video games, it's not happening. I'll just stream while I work, and you can lurk while I work. I like to call these lurk while we work streams. Like, there's no need to interact with the chat if you don't want to. Like, trust me, I can talk enough for the both of us. Yeah, I'll ink in the building facades. I had considered not doing that because I already have some of these in a separate file so that I could copy paste them if I wanted to, but I think I'm going to ink these in. Mostly. I will mostly ink these in. We'll leave that be. Ooh, cliffs. It's almost like Dragon Ball Z is an inspiration for my art. That's why I draw so many deserts. To be fair, it's not just Dragon Ball Z. It's also the states of New Mexico and Arizona are also big in artistic inspirations for me. That's why I like to draw deserts. In fact, I love to draw deserts so much I'm actually drawing New Mexico's deserts for a short comic that I'm submitting to an anthology later this year. So, yeah, I like drawing me some deserts. Desert rocks are therapeutic, man. There was no line like that in the previous panel, so we'll leave that be. Mild tree line there. Mild tree line here. Oh, where's the corner edge? Okay, then it doesn't really matter. Cool. These lines indicate where the bleed lines are and where the page is going to get cut off in the print version. This is also bleed area and where I crop out when I make the webcomic version of the page, because I have two different versions of a given page of The Legend of Jamie Roberts. One is for posting up on thelegendofjamieroberts.com. The other version is for putting it into print. And I do that on purpose because I understand that a lot of internet connections nowadays can process images that are 300 dots per inch or larger. I don't tend to like to do that with my webcomics because I like my stuff to load fast. This will get a facade, but that's later. Now, The Legend of Jamie Roberts is a little more loose with its perspective. But that's more because we're working with, like, large, open, natural spaces right now. Like, yes, there are kind of apartment buildings happening right now, but it's still outdoors. Had a lot of sugar this morning and now I'm starting to crash. Ha. feel like that moment when Hank Green was taking apart the adding machine, and then like 25 minutes later, he's like, I got it! I figured it out! A lot of making comics is just that energy of drawing a thing for like 20 minutes and then you're like, I got it! Lately I've been watching, I say lately, but like in the last couple of weeks I had been watching a lot of thoughtful stuff, but now I'm at a point where I'm like, just give me the fun stuff. I don't need to be thinking constantly all the time. Let me have my mental cheese whiz. So I've been rewatching All Work No Play because it doesn't take a whole lot of brain juice to listen to All Work No Play. Probably gonna turn on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory later. Like, even though in our modern day, I mean, this is true back then too, but like with our modern sensibilities, Willy Wonka and by extension Charlie and the Chocolate Factory doesn't really sit super duper great with our modern sensibilities, especially since there's a lot about Willy Wonka / Charlie and the Chocolate Factory that's rich people apologetic, particularly apologetic for billionaires, and like, I get that Oompa Loompas are supposed to be not applicable because they're like supposed to be kind of aliens from an entirely different place, but it is also noteworthy that there's a billionaire who runs a chocolate factory who keeps aliens in a factory and only pays them in chocolate beans. That's noteworthy. There's a lot about Charlie / Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory that, considering how not okay society is increasingly become of like Amazon and stuff, we should really revisit Willy Wonka / Charlie. Maybe give it the treatment that much, not much ado. Maybe give it the same treatment that modern day society has given to the Taming of the Shrew. Because the Taming of the Shrew, there's a lot about it that does not sit well with a modern audience. Heck, it didn't even really sit well with the Elizabethan audience when it was released. There was a play, The Tamer Tamed, that came out 10 years after The Taming of the Shrew, which is entirely about the dude in The Taming of the Shrew who did the taming getting his comeuppance. There's an entire play called The Tamer Tamed that talks about that. Because even back then, people were like, The Taming of the Shrew is really actually not funny, if you think about it. I mean, there are individual lines that are funny, but the scenario itself? No, absolutely not. But there are individual lines that are very funny in The Taming of the Shrew. I actually did a scene reenactment of, God, I'm trying to remember their names. I'm really not that much of an actor. Petruchio, that's the guy's name, but it's the dialogue scene between Petruchio and the Shrew character, and I was part of that scene. That was a very funny scene to reenact. It's the one where it's before their wedding. It's like when they first meet each other and the back and forth that they both have with each other. Like that particular scene, there's actually a line that implies some rim job horniness going on. And this is why Shakespeare's plays have survived into the modern day, because he told a lot of dirty jokes. Like a lot of dirty jokes. Like a lot of dirty jokes. I'm just going to draw the doors for the buildings here, because those are easy enough. But the windows and the wood beams, because these are supposed to be wood beams, those I'm going to pull from a reference file that I have on hand to fill those in and just arrange as needed, because though I probably could. Let's see if this will work. And if you're wondering, I will draw the depth for these things. I have a trick for that. I'm just not doing it right now. Oh, that'll work. Sweet. I am going to free transform that though, just to narrow it down a smidge. Cool. Okay, that makes this a lot faster actually. Good. Good, good, good. That works for me. Merge the layer down. Because the way that I draw depth, particularly for this setup here, is well, the beams are going to have to be treated separate from the windows, but here's what I do. I copy, paste, and I move this to about there. And that gives me what I need to draw the beams like that. And then I can go into this layer and erase these lines. Now, because of the sheer multitude of beams, it helps to put one layer at like 50% opacity so that you can actually see what you're doing. But I did this in the previous page because the previous page also had that trick employed. And I'll tell you what, it made drawing the building facades so much faster when I did this trick. I mean, you have to keep in mind the perspective rules, but still, handy dandy trick. I love it. When drawing the windows, when I get to the windows, I'll do the same thing, but I will be moving the duplicated layer inward to get the effect that I want. But yeah, the illusion of space is basically what I'm doing. eventually I'll get to making tutorial videos for how to work in Clip Studio Paint. Doing these sorts of things. Today is not that day. But I am recording this stream, so I could isolate particular clips and just post them up as like, hey, here's a handy dandy trick. Can totally do that. I'd have to actually go in and video edit, and I'm lazy. I have established this earlier. I am lazy. Got it. I'm gonna bump that opacity back up and we will merge that layer down. Then we will take our windows. Thinking of the best way to select these. Okay, and then we're gonna hold the shift key so that we can also select around this. Copy paste. Move this inward. Deselect. Put that at opacity 50-ish%. And we will erase around some of these lines. Honestly, this little handy dandy trick works best when you're working with an angle like this one. As we move up in the perspective lines, we're going to be doing this a little bit differently every time, but this works for now. Opacity up, merge down. And this line matches the angle of this line, so the perspective is accurate. Yeah, you want to try to make sure that a lot of the lines that you have running are parallel to each other when appropriate. Okay, save our progress. Did I save my progress on that new punk signal page that was stumping me? I did. Just making sure. You know, revisiting this, I'm going to do a thing. I'm going to do a thing. And this may not be 100% perspective accurate, but whatever. We're not going for accuracy here. Well, we're going to give the illusion of accuracy, but we're not going for 100% accurate here. Boom. Let's get the symmetrical ruler going. Honestly, the symmetrical ruler makes drawing bottles a lot easier. Yeah, we'll do curvy. We'll do curvy like that. And turn that symmetrical layer off. Flip the canvas back over. We're gonna move that bottle down. Just trying not to tangent, and then I tangent to the words. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, it's not the best perspective, but it'll do. Besides, most of this is going to be covered up with dialogue boxes anyway. But we did it! At least for the base stuff. I gotta ink in that phone screen. Poop. Okay. I had to reference the back of my phone for the back of this phone. I'm using my own phone as a reference for a second. There. Oh. Forgot to change the paint bucket tool back to refer other layers. Because when you have it as refer only to editing layer, it causes some like border jank. Back over here, we're going to save our progress. Okay. I'm honestly gonna... I'm thinking about wrapping up this stream here in a second, honestly. First, some water. Okay. I forgot that I named the burger joint Shaken Out. Because I started writing a restaurant name, and I was like, well, the Shake and Bake. No, that's a thing. Shake and Steak? No, that's too close to Steak and Shake. It's already a property. And then my brain decided to combine Steak and Shake and In-N-Out. And then I went, that is brilliant. Shaken Out. We're doing that. We're doing that. That's official. Let's turn that white layer off and write, we'll write news here in white, so that once we get to the coloring phase, we can color this bar whatever color that we want to, and news will pop out. Turn that white layer back on. It's gonna look messy, but the final result will be worth it. Yes. Good. Yes. blah, 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 PM. I'll fix that in a second. Again, using my phone as a reference.
Wait, 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 wait.
Signaling that it's on vibrate. Wi-Fi signal. Bars. And battery. Bloop. Okay. Okay. Because this is a small detail and this is something that will bug me if I don't get this right, I am going to bring up a previous page of New Punk Signal. The one that has the calendar in it. 9 a.m. class? Okay, so it has to be at least after 9 a.m. Probably after 12 as well. Oh. While I'm looking at this, this over here, the to-do list, the purple text is Steve's to-do list. The brown text is Mike's to-do list. I have a screen cap of the full to-do list that Steve wrote up on that board. What he wrote up there is something. It's based on what my older sister wrote on a to-do list once when she was in college. The to-do list items included study to be a Cheeto. One of the to-do list items on her list was eat cat. Steve would not want to do that. He has one to-do list item that's eat the rich. I think the other one was like make sushi, learn to be a butterfly. That was another one. Learn the ways of the butterfly. But I needed to look at the timestamps over here. 9 a.m. class? Okay, so they have like the later part of the morning and the afternoon to like catch up with each other. So let's say 1:21. There. Web thing. I'm just gonna cheat and I'm gonna write in localnews.com. Like this may be a real website, I don't know, but I'm just gonna cheat here and say that. Oh wait, that actually needs to move down. Just realized I put that in the wrong spot. Thinking about how web browsers are set up on the phones, this would actually be down here. Oh no, that's brush shape. That's not going to give me rounded edges. I wanted a rectangle with rounded edges, but it's not going to give me that. Okay. I just realized that the anti-aliasing on these like line tools was not the same level of anti-aliasing that I have on my brush tips. So I'm gonna have to fix that. Because that's important to have the two be like as similar as possible, if not the same level. Okay. I'm gonna have a little home button here. I'm making up these details off the top of my head from memory. So if I need to go back in and edit stuff, I will go back and edit stuff. But this is what I recall. Always the 3 dots. News. We'll have a little arrow here. I did that in pencil. I needed to do that in ink. And a little arrow here. Oh. Boop. Those are going to be separate links. I'll put those in proper text. Doot. And because I am lazy again, copy paste, move. Merge it down, copy paste, and move, and merge. There. And this text is going to be done in the actual text layer. I'm not going to worry about trying to ink that in, but boom. Now the inks for New Punk Signal, this particular page, are done. Good. I can X out of that window. And back to Jamie Roberts. As soon as I check this off my list. Done. Whew. Because inking in the facade is going to be boring as heck, and I can do that off stream, let's just ink in the Mokta over here. Mokta being the little angry spirits. Oh. Wait, Mokta black white is going to be a separate layer. The colors used to fill in the Mokta are usually saved on a separate layer, but grouped with the inks. It makes sense if you understand how layers work in Clip Studio Paint. But for the purposes of this. I would usually draw the white lines used for the Mokta on the same layer as the rest of the inks, but we're dealing with some like overlapping here, and I wanted to be able to erase some lines. Like there, and there, and there, and there, and there. And it's just easier to do that when playing with layers. So we got that. Now, You know what? We'll keep that separate. Call it Mocktaw lines. And we're drawing this on a transparent background because the default background is white. It doesn't really help us any right now. I could change the default background to gray. I'm not going to do that. So thinking about it, thinking ahead to the coloring phase, I could. We'll do that. We'll make this that level of gray. Yeah. Maybe let's brighten that up a bit actually. Boop. That is not the layer I wanted to put that on. We wanted to put it on this one. We'll call that tint. That way when we get to the color flat stage, then we can tool it around as needed. Wrong layer. Keep track of your layers, kids. Trying something new with coloring in the Mocktaw's eyes. I usually draw the lines and then put the fills on a separate layer, but we're gonna do it differently today. Bringing back the marquee tool to delete the lines that we do not need. Gonna deselect, use the eraser for the other ones, sitting on the curve. No, I thought that was in pen. I thought that was in pen mode. It was not. Correct, correct. We got the angles corrected. We'll ink in the facades. So separate. I don't know what words we're trying to do there for a minute. 25 brush width to ink in the trio in the foreground of this panel. Motion lines are going to be a separate layer. I'm getting hungry. Actually, there's a good point to end the stream. because I'm starting to get the munchies, and it is 4 o'clock, so we've been streaming for about 2 hours now, so now's a good place to pause. I'm going to zoom out so that we can see some of what we done. Okay. Rest of this is going to get inked off stream, but we're going to wrap it up here for today. Before I get into my post-stream announcements, let me double check what's happening this Saturday. Because my usual streaming schedule is Tuesdays and Saturdays here on Twitch at 2 p.m. EST. This month is a little screwy, though, because Small Press Expo is a thing. Oh, cool. I don't have anything else going on this upcoming Saturday. So I can stream again this Saturday, September 10th at 2 p.m. So be sure to tune in this upcoming Saturday, September 10th at 2 p.m. The following week I can stream again on Tuesday. But then Small Press Expo is happening. So, hopefully I will see you again this weekend on this channel. Thank you all so much for watching. If you would like to check out my webcomics or look at any comics that I have in my online store, or if you want to check out my crowdfunder campaign, all of those links will be at kelseydcrawford.com/links. I am not going to apologize for that. I do have a crowdfunder campaign going on right now. It's like Kickstarter, but you can choose your own rewards a la carte, and you can mix and match the rewards that you want. I have extended the deadline to September 18th. The more money that we raise, the more designs we can get printed as keychains. So to check out the designs that we have available, go to crowdfunder.com/dragon-baby. Both of the links that I have mentioned are listed on the screen along the top. When this reposts as an archived video on YouTube, I will put those links in the doobly-doo. That's all I've got for now. Again, I stream Tuesdays and Saturdays at 2 p.m. EST on Twitch. So hopefully I will see you again this upcoming Saturday this week. Thank you all so much for watching. You are awesome.